Hello and welcome to this edition of News Today. Without delay, let's have a look at the headlines first. RCB's IPL 2025 trophy parade takes tragic turn as Stampede claims lives in Bengaluru. India elected to UN Economic and Social Council for 2026-28 term. India's first variable speed pumped storage plant begins operations in Uttarakhand's Tehri. Population census 2027 to be conducted in India along with enumeration of castes. India added 2 more wetlands from Rajasthan into Ramsar list of wetlands of international importance. Global debate intensifies over lethal autonomous weapons systems. The city of Bengaluru, which was wrapped in celebration after Royal Challenger Bangalore or RCB's historic IPL 2025 win, was suddenly gripped by tragedy. A stampede during the team's victory parade has claimed multiple lives, turning a moment of joy into one of grief. A stampede is defined as an impulsive mass movement of a crowd, often resulting in severe injuries or fatalities, primarily due to traumatic asphyxia, where breathing is fatally obstructed, or due to crush-related injuries. In the past year alone, India has witnessed at least 6 major stampedes, including at the New Delhi railway station and during the Mahakumbh, claiming hundreds of lives. Now the key question, what triggers stampedes? Let's break it down. Structural failures can be one reason, like the collapse of bridges or platforms. A tragic example is the Morbi Bridge collapse in Gujarat 2022. Another major cause is fire or electrical hazards, such as the infamous Upahar Cinema fire in 1997, where non-availability of fire extinguishers led to panic and disaster. Administrative or managerial lapses are equally dangerous. Underestimating crowd size, closed or blocked exits, or sudden changes in entry or exit routes can spark chaos. Then there's crowd behavior, last-minute rushes, sudden platform changes, or space shortages. Take the stampede at the Mahakumbh Mela in 2025, for instance. And lastly, security-related triggers. Actions like firing, use of tear gas, or even a weapon being brandished can cause widespread panic. A Seoul crowd tragedy of 2022 stands as a grim example. So, what can be done? According to the NDMA guidelines on crowd management, planning is the key. It starts with capacity assessment, understanding crowd psychology, crowd control, and developing stakeholder approach. Risk analysis is vital. Organizers are advised to conduct failure mode and effect analysis or FMEA to anticipate possible hazards. Information dissemination ensures everyone involved, from visitors as well as stakeholders, receives correct and timely information. Security arrangements like CCTV surveillance, medical facilities, barriers, and emergency exits are non-negotiable. Globally, countries are turning to smart solutions, be it integrated command and control centers, crowd flow management and public communication during global events, or AI-powered real-time crowd monitoring and real-time analysis in Japan and Singapore. The emphasis is on technology, strategy, and human coordination. Planning through zoning, public awareness, crowd flow optimization, and emergency response is helping save lives. This tragic incident in Bengaluru should serve as a wake-up call. Joyous occasions must never turn into mass mourning. Safety planning should never be an afterthought. Moving on. In a recent development, India has been elected to the United Nations Economic and Social Council or ECOSOC for the 2026-28 term. This election took place under the Asia Pacific States category, which holds 4 seats, alongside Lebanon, Turkmenistan, and China. But what exactly is ECOSOC? And why is this important? Let's break it down. The UN Economic and Social Council or ECOSOC is headquartered in New York, USA. It is one of the 6th main organs of the United Nations, established under UN Charter in 1945, and serves as the central platform for discussion, consensus building, and coordination on international economic, social, and developmental issues. ECOSOC comprises 54 members. Every year, the UN General Assembly elects 18 new members, each serving a 3-year term with 1 vote per member. The membership is allocated equitably across 5 regional groups: Africa, Asia Pacific, Eastern European, Latin American and Caribbean, and Western European and others. So, what does ECOSOC actually do? Its primary functions include coordinating the work of 14 UN specialized agencies, 10 functional commissions, and 5 regional commissions, receiving reports from 9 UN funds and programs, issuing policy recommendations to the UN system and its member states. Under the UN Charter, ECOSOC is also tasked with promoting higher standards of living, full employment, and overall economic and social progress, identifying global solutions to economic, social, and health problems, facilitating cultural and educational cooperation, and most importantly, encouraging universal respect for human rights and fundamental freedoms. Let's now talk about its functional commissions. Among them is the Statistical Commission, the highest authority in the global statistical system, established in 1946. Then, there's the Commission on Population and Development, responsible for tracking the outcomes of the International Conference on Population and Development. The Commission on the Status of Women stands out as the principal body for gender equality, women's rights, and women's empowerment. We also have the Commission on Narcotic Drugs, which addresses both supply and demand aspects of global drug issues. Other vital bodies include the Commission for Social Development, Commission on Sustainable Development, UN Forum on Forests, Commission on Crime Prevention and Criminal Justice, and the Commission on Science and Technology for Development. So, with this election, India continues its active engagement with global governance, reaffirming its commitment to shaping inclusive, sustainable, and rights-based development. India has marked a major milestone in clean energy development as the country's first variable speed pumped storage plant, or VSP-SP, has begun operations in Tihri, Uttarakhand. The announcement was made by Tihri Hydro Development Corporation India Limited, or THDCIL, confirming the start of commercial electricity supply from the first unit, a 250 megawatt generator of the 1 gigawatt Tihri pump storage plant located on the Bhagirathi River. So, what exactly is a variable speed pumped storage plant, or VSP-SP? It is a hydroelectric power plant that uses variable speed technology to adjust the speed of the turbines and pumps, offering greater flexibility and efficiency than traditional PSPs. Now let's step back and understand what is a pumped storage plant, or PSP. A PSP is essentially a configuration of two water reservoirs at different elevations. It can generate power as water moves down from the upper reservoir to the lower one, passing through a turbine in the process. The principle of operation is straightforward. It uses gravitational potential energy to store and generate electricity. This makes it a type of hydroelectric long-duration energy storage system. Now, to understand how pumped storage works, let's begin with the basics. So, when the demand for electricity is low and there is abundant renewable energy available from wind or solar sources, this excess energy is used to pump water to upper reservoir. During periods of high electricity demand, the stored water is released back down to the lower reservoir through turbines, generating electricity. Now, PSPs are mainly of two types, open loop and closed loop. Let's look at all the difference. Open loop pumped storage hydropower involves projects that are continuously connected to a naturally flowing water source. Water from the upper reservoirs flows through a penstock or tunnel, passing a turbine and pump system housed in a powerhouse, and ultimately reaches the lower reservoir, which is part of a natural water system. Closed-loop pumped storage hydropower, on the other hand, refers to systems that are not continuously connected to natural water bodies. Here too, the process involves an upper and lower reservoir, a turbine or pump, generator or motor, and a powerhouse. But both reservoirs are typically man-made and isolated from external water flows. Let's now move to the broader status of pumped storage hydropower in India and globally. As of February 2025, India's installed pumped storage capacity stands at approximately 4.8 gigawatt. Globally, as of 2022, about 175 gigawatt of pumped hydro storage capacity is installed, with China leading the count, followed by Japan and the United States. So, with the Tihri VSP-SP now operational, India has not only embraced innovation in hydroelectric storage, but has also taken a key step forward in enhancing the resilience and sustainability of its energy infrastructure. Moving on, India is set to undertake a significant national exercise, the Population Census 2027, which will also include the enumeration of castes, marking the first such effort since 1931. The Union Ministry of Home Affairs has announced that the census will be conducted in 2 phases, with the entire counting process to be completed by March 1, 2027. This will be the first census after 2011, as the one due in 2020-21 was postponed due to COVID-19 pandemic. Let's break down the key details of this upcoming census. As per Section 3 of the Census Act 1948, a notification for conducting the census will be published in the official gazette. The process will happen in 2 distinct phases. Phase 1 will involve house listing, where all buildings, whether permanent or temporary, will be recorded, along with details about their type, amenities, and assets. Following that, Phase 2 or Phase 2 will cover population enumeration, during which detailed data will be collected for every individual residing in the country, Indian or otherwise, including their caste. This marks a historic moment, as caste enumeration will officially return to the national census for the first time since 1931. Coming to the reference dates, the specific points of time for which the population data is collected. For the Union Territories of Ladakh, Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, and Uttarakhand, the reference date will be October 1st, 2026. And for the rest of India, it will be March 1st, 2027. Importantly, this will be India's first ever digital census, introducing a significant technological shift in the process. Now, let's understand the legal and historical context of the Indian census. The census is backed by Article 246 of the Constitution under Union List Entry 69. Legally, it is conducted under the Census Act of 1948 and the Census Rules of 1990. It is headed by the Registrar General and Census Commissioner of India. The upcoming enumeration will be the 16th decennial census since 1872 and the 8th since independence. A quick flashback. The first synchronous census in India was conducted in 1881 under W.C. Plowden, and it became a regular decadal practice thereafter. And finally, why does this matter? The census is the principal source of official socio-economic and demographic data in the country, forming the foundation for government schemes, policy making, and the national planning. India's Census 2027 is not just a count. It's a cornerstone for inclusive governance in the world's largest democracy. In the next news of the day, India continues to strengthen its global commitment to wetland conservation. On World Environment Day 2025, 2 wetlands from Rajasthan, Kichin and Menar, were added to the Ramsar list of wetlands of international importance, taking the country's total to 91. Now, before we move forward, a quick reminder. World Environment Day is celebrated every year on June 5th since 1973 and is led by the UN Environment Programme. The theme for 2025 is Beat Plastic Pollution. So, with the addition of Kichin and Menar, Rajasthan now has 4 Ramsar sites, which include the Sambhar Salt Lake and Kevladev Ghana National Park in Bharatpur. Let's now take a closer look at the 2 newly designated Ramsar sites. Starting with the Kichin wetland. Located in the northern Thar Desert in Falodi district, the site comprises 2 water bodies, Ratri Nadi and Vijaysagar Talab, along with riparian habitat and scrub land. It is particularly known for hosting large wintering flocks of migratory demoiselle cranes, or Anthropoides virgo. Moving on to the Menar wetland complex. It is situated in Menar and Kheroda villages of Udaipur district. This is a freshwater monsoon wetland complex formed by 3 ponds, Brahm Talab, Dhan Talab and Kheroda Talab. Notable species here include the critically endangered white-rumped vulture or Gyps bengalensis and long-billed vulture or Gyps indicus. Additionally, the site supports over 70 plant species, including mango trees, Magnifera indica, around Brahm Talab, which also host a large colony of Indian flying fox, Pteropus giganteus. Now, putting this development into a broader perspective, let's briefly revisit the Ramsar Convention. The Ramsar Convention on Wetlands was adopted in 1971 in the Iranian city of Ramsar, and it came into force in 1975. It is an intergovernmental treaty that provides the framework for the conservation and wise use of wetlands and their resources. Almost 90% of UN member states are now contracting parties to this convention. India joined the Ramsar Convention on February 1st, 1982, and currently holds the highest number of Ramsar sites in Asia. And finally, to be recognized as a wetland of international importance, a site must meet at least one of 9 criteria established under the Ramsar Convention. So, with Kitchen and Minar's inclusion, India has once again reaffirmed its ecological responsibility, one wetland at a time. Lethal Autonomous Weapon Systems, or LAWS, are fast becoming a focal point of international discourse. These are a class of advanced weapons capable of identifying and engaging targets without any human intervention. At present, it's important to note that there is no universally accepted definition of what constitutes LAWS, and that ambiguity leads to a pressing ethical question. Can we ethically delegate life and death decisions to machines without compromising human moral agency and dignity? Let's now explore the two sides of the ethical debate surrounding LAWS, starting with the arguments in favor. From a results-oriented or consequentialist viewpoint, supporters argue that LAWS could improve precision and, therefore, reduce civilian harm. For instance, an autonomous missile with advanced targeting systems might minimize collateral damage. Another argument is ethical superiority. LAWS could potentially reduce human error in high-pressure situations, thereby increasing ethical conduct during military operations and ensuring better compliance with international humanitarian law, or IHL. And finally, proponents highlight the potential to minimize harm. By removing human soldiers from dangerous frontline roles, autonomous weapons could help reduce the overall loss of life in conflict zones. Now, let's look at the concerns against LAWS. The foremost concern is the lack of human judgment. While LAWS may be technically precise, they lack the ability to make ethical decisions in complex and fluid combat environments. Accountability is another major issue. Who is to be held responsible for an autonomous weapon's actions? As Nicole Van Ruijgen rightly asks, who is accountable? Is it the manufacturer or the person who programmed the algorithm? There's also the matter of undermining human dignity, both for combatants targeted by machines and civilians who may be put at risk of death without human discretion. And then comes the banalization of violence in warfare, where increased physical and psychological distance between humans and the battlefield may make the use of violence easier and more frequent. Now, beyond the core ethical arguments, there are deeper concerns regarding the nature of human-machine interactions in such systems. One is automation bias, where humans place too much trust in an autonomous system's operation. Another is unexpected behavior or surprises, where the human operator is not fully aware of how the machine is functioning when they need to take control. And finally, the issue of moral buffering, where the human shifts moral responsibility onto the machine, treating it as a legitimate authority for the consequences of its actions. So, in summary, LAWS sit at the intersection of innovation and ethics, raising critical questions not just about technology, but about the very core of human responsibility and accountability in warfare. As we conclude today's main news, let's have a look at some quick updates. International Crops Research Institute for the Semi-Arid Tropics, or ICRISAT, and Research and Information System for Developing Countries, or RIS, launched ISSCA. RIS is a New Delhi-based autonomous policy research institute. India won the presidency of International Institute of Administrative Sciences. IIAS was established in 1930 and is headquartered in Brussels. It is an international non-profit organization collaborating for scientific research and public administration. Pakistan will chair Taliban Sanctions Committee and vice chair the Counter-Terrorism Committee of United Nations Security Council. The Taliban Sanctions Committee was established by Resolution 1988 in 2011. Election Commission of India launched ECINET app for timely voter turnout reporting. Under Conduct of Elections Rules 1961, presiding officers or PROs are still required to submit Form 17C, which contains the account of votes recorded, to the polling agents nominated by candidates at the close of polling. The Union government has launched Clean Plant Program for grapes, oranges and pomegranates from Maharashtra. CPP was launched by Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare with the purpose to revolutionize horticulture sector by providing farmers with access to virus-free, high-quality planting material. India has proposed to conduct a joint feasibility study for operationalizing the Northern Sea Route with Norwegian agencies. Also known as the Northeast Passage (NEP), the NSR is a maritime route located along the northern coast of Russia, connecting the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean via Arctic waters. India opposed Asian Development Bank's $800 million loan to Pakistan under its Resource Mobilization Reform Program. This program aims to support Pakistan to implement reforms that will help ensure fiscal sustainability. Study in exposomics can help get a better picture of disease causes and prevention strategies. Exposomics is the study of the exposome and relies on the application of internal and external exposure assessment of the individual. Recent US experiment results show muons behaving unusually, providing intriguing insights into fundamental laws of physics. The muon is one of the fundamental subatomic particles, the most basic building blocks of the universe, as described in the Standard Model of Particle Physics. Before we sign off, let's challenge your understanding in today's installment of Test Your Learning. Thank you for joining us. We hope you found this episode of News Today engaging. For the solutions to the quiz and to access the PDF version of News Today, remember to visit the provided links in the description below.